those hands together, we shall. Oh, someday, deep in my heart, yeah, come on, let's put those hands together. Oh, victory's mine, we shall. Oh, we shall. Oh, we shall overcome. Hey. So deep in my heart, oh, I still believe that we shall overcome. Yeah.
Celebrating Reverend Jesse Jackson. It's his birthday, everybody. I need you to make some noise. We're celebrating 77 years of a great leader, a great servant, our friend and our brother. One more time, text somebody, tweet somebody, let them know that the push is on as we push for change, push for freedom. One more time, make some noise.
Oh, we shall. Oh, we shall. Oh, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my, oh, I believe that we shall overcome someday.
Oh, y'all, come on, y'all can do better than that. We're celebrating Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson. Come on, one more time, make some noise. 77 years, y'all. Oh, come on, he's still alive. He's still strong. He's still pushing for change and still pushing for freedom. Everybody that's watching, we want you to give us a call. The number's right there on your screen. Those of you that are listening to us, wherever you are, give us a call, check in, and wish Reverend Jackson a happy 77th birthday. He looks good, he feels good, and he has a lot to share today. But one more time, y'all, all day long, you can get here as we're celebrating Reverend Jackson's birthday. We have so many people here that come to express his love, but we want to celebrate the young people. Oak Park River Forest is here with their principal. Can you make some noise? Come on, for our young people that are here to celebrate Reverend Jackson. All of you that are watching us across the world, those of you that are watching us on Facebook Live, we need you to do us a favor, share the video, fill that screen with love because we're celebrating Reverend Jackson's birthday. We want you to do us a favor, text at JLJ, text JLJ to 41444. Those of you that are with us, one more time, text JLJ77. That's JLJ77 to 41444, and we want to connect with you. We want to celebrate and show some love for Reverend Jackson. Again, those that are listening on WVON, those that are watching us on the Impact Network, those of you that are watching us all across the world, we have our friends here from Africa that have come to express their love for Reverend Jackson. And so we want you to stay tuned and stay connected with us all day long. We go off the air at 11 o'clock, but you can stream on rainbowpush.org or on Facebook Live. Stay connected with us. But right now, we have a video tribute. We want to show Reverend Jackson our love. So those of you that are watching us, you watch the screen. Those of you that are with us, look up and let's pay attention to this video tribute.
Some useless, unholy, not beginning of the day. Look in the mirror and say, I somebody. Well, I believe the future's in my hand.
sit in I couldn't use the public library, so I sat in, and I was arrested. The sacrifice and some risk involved in that.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. appoints Reverend Jackson in 1966 to head Chicago's Operation Breadbasket, Southern Christian Leadership Council's self-help economic uplift program. In August of 1967, Dr. King appoints Reverend Jackson National Director of Operation Breadbasket, which negotiates hundreds of jobs and millions of dollars for African American neighborhoods across the country.
The legacy then was we were fighting for a goal. The goal was a public accommodation bill, the right to vote and jobs.
During the Washington, D.C. Poor People's Campaign, Reverend Jackson is appointed mayor of Resurrection City. It is here that he first fashions his signature chant of "I am somebody."
I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
We talked about an organization that would involve people in a united struggle, and so it was people united at first to save humanity, and then at a later point it became people united to serve humanity.
Just what is Operation Push?
Well, Operation Push is a civil economics organization. It's a religious organization with an economic mission. And we believe that the black church is the political and spiritual salvation of our people. And it is to that extent that we challenge churches and churchmen to get involved.
I think when I went to jail the first time, like I was born again. Something happened within me. A fire was lit that never went out, really.
We want to turn on the gas. We want to turn on the water. We want to sell the clothes. We want to sell the cars. We want to be men. We want self-determination. What time is it? When we stand together, what time is it?
We do not seek to exchange sufferers, but to stop suffering.
My father's ministry is international in scope and dimension. He's met with religious leaders from all over the world and brought up human rights concerns in all of these discussions. He's met with President Castro, with President Assad to bring hostages back.
2 American soldiers went down over Syria. The white soldier died, and the black soldier, Goodman, was alive. And Reagan's position was, don't go. You don't know what you are doing. But if you do get him, bring him back. So we decided to go. And in the end, we got him out.
He proved a black man could go out there and stand on his own, master the issues, master foreign policy.
We do not choose to defy our government, but to seek to change its priorities, from those of war to those of peace, from the politics of military solutions to the politics of freedom for Lieutenant Goodman.
Reverend Jackson's mission was a personal mission of mercy, and he has earned our gratitude and our admiration.
It allowed the Syrian government the opportunity to release me without having to succumb directly to the U.S. government.
That turned the spotlight on Jackson, creating momentum for his 1984 and 1988 presidential bid, and made him a go-to as a third-person intermediator. Reverend Jackson announces at the Washington, D.C. Convention Center before 5,000 people that he is running for President of the United States.
There was an anchor who said, "Mothers, go get your children. Bring them before the television. Sit down, hold on to your seats. You're about to hear one of the greatest speeches that you've ever heard in your life."
But just because you're born in the slum does not mean the slum is born in you and you can rise above it. We must leave racial battleground and come to economic common ground and moral higher ground. America, our time has come, and come November, there will be a change because our time has come. Thank you, and God bless you. Wherever you are tonight, you can make it. Hold your head high. Stick your chest out. You can make it.
I was trying to carve out a lane of healing, or a lane of hope, a lane of reconstruction and revitalization. I wanted to try to pick up the broken pieces and connect them.
Represent any institution because it's an institution in its own right. And wherever there are prisoners or people in troubles, he's there. And he really represents, in a noble way, the need to help people.
Hi, I'm so happy to meet you.
I got this call from Attorney C.K. Hoffler, who is our friend and our attorney and board member. Said, my friend's daughter is in captivity. Will you help? Of course we'll help. I was made aware of the work she had done by her mother and by Attorney C.K. Hoffler. But I'm sensitive to the Algerian-U.S. relationship, compounded by the Trump era, frankly.
The hardest thing was not knowing how long I would be there. So they were throwing around some pretty long sentence terms.
We met in Washington and met with the ambassador. We made a number of other calls and prepared to go to Algeria.
I had no idea about Reverend Jackson's involvement until after I got back and started to hear how things had developed on this side. I'm here thanks to you, and I'm really more grateful than words can express.
Thank you for allowing us to serve. Thank your mom.
I'll thank my mama too.
She's the key. She's the bridge.
And CK, both amazing women.
It's a part of the peace mission to bring down walls and build bridges of communication.
Reverend Jackson continues his mission of world peace by successfully negotiating the freedom, rescue, and release of captives across the globe.
He was born in Greenville, South Carolina, October the 8th, 1941. There's a hero if you look into your heart. You don't have to be afraid of what you are. There is an answer if you look into your soul. All of the sorrow that you feel will melt away.
We must pursue peace and shared existence. War is not an option. Through nonviolence, we can have shared existence. We can move from pain and fear and despair to hope. And hope must abide.
It is my honor on behalf of a proud nation to award each of them the Presidential Medal of Freedom, our highest civilian honor. In the words of our Constitution, they have helped us to secure the blessings of liberty by acts of bravery, conscience, and creativity. It's hard to imagine how we could have come as far as we have without the creative power, the keen intellect, the loving heart, and the relentless passion of Jesse Louis Jackson. And God isn't done with him yet.
Some say my future not that bright. Some say I'm useless, unholy, and I'm not living right. But at the beginning of the day, look in the mirror and say, I am somebody. Oh. Well, I believe the future's in my hand. And I tell every boy, girl, woman, and man, if I can think it, I can believe it, create it and achieve it. So I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. Maybe down and pushed away, but at the end of the day, I am somebody. Oh, so take away the hate and give me love. Yeah. So take away the hate and give me love. Give me peace instead of pain, joy inside this rain, and I will remain somebody. Oh, so take away the hate and give me love. Somebody. Take away the hate and show me love. Maybe down but not destroyed. empty but not void, 'cause I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. Maybe down and pushed away, but at the end of the day, I am
somebody.
I'm somebody.
I am somebody.
I'm somebody.
I may be young. I may be young. But I am.
But I am somebody.
But I am somebody.
You know, some of my friends in the struggle were killed. Others were destroyed in so many ways. So I'm a survivor. I've been blessed to be a long-distance runner. I served as faithfully as I could, for as long as I could, make life better for people around me and try to leave an imprint in the sand of times.
Maybe down and pushed away, but at the end of the day, I am somebody. I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. You can turn and walk away, but at the end of the day, I am somebody. Ooh, I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. Maybe down and pushed away, but at the end of the day, I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. I may be down and pushed away, but at the end of this day, gonna say I am somebody. Look at your neighbor and say, I am somebody. Yeah, yeah, I am. God made me. At the end of this day, you can turn and walk away, but I am somebody. Good God Almighty. Oh, I am. God made me, so I am. Yeah. Turn and walk away. Call me what you want, but I am. Yeah. I am. Look at your neighbor, say, God made me. Yeah. Turn and walk away. At the end of this day, sing. Pray. Oh, just pray for me. Oh, pray, oh Lord. Pray with me for the world of children. Oh, just pray with me. Oh, just pray with me. 3-256-2775. Listen, today we're going to do something special. All of you that are with us, all of you that are watching us, we want you to donate $7.70, $77.70, $700, and for those of you that can, $7,700. We want to use what you have to continue the work that Reverend Jackson is doing all across the world. So listen, why don't you give us a call? The number is right there on your screen, 773-256-2775, or you can simply text. You can text it JLJ77 to 41444. And again, we want to use what little we have to make a big difference all across the world. Before we hear from our leader today, we're celebrating victory. We're celebrating justice. We're celebrating the fact that hard work, dedication, and sacrifice paid off. We thank God for the life of Laquan McDonald. We thank God that his life is not in vain. And a man that was on the case, a man
man that was giving us information, a man that was working hard, none other than Jonathan Luther Jackson. Put your hands together for Jonathan.
Thank you, Rainbow Push. I'm going to try to get through my remarks without crying. But truly, from the bottom of my heart, my family's heart, we thank you all for having come out. This past week, I had another event that was really cool. Some of the young activists, Brother Will Calloway, who we owe such a great deal of credit to, invited me to come out to be a part in the viewers section for the young child, Laquan McDonald, Brother Jedediah. Thank you, and Mark and Paul, Eric Russell, Reverend Greg Livingston, Reverend Ira Ackery, Reverend Marshall Hatch, Reverend Paul Jakes. I'm going to introduce you myself, Reverend Hunter. But I thank you all. Oftentimes we heap so much pain and take out our anxiety against the church. But I want to say thank God for the few, the brave, the strong that showed up. And those of us that have some level of activism, we get mad with one another on tactics, but we all have the same outcome goal. Some people fall short, but we all have to be here because there's only so few that actually show up. Many people will be at home, textbooking, Facebooking, Twittering, Periscoping, talking about you, knocking on you, spewing negative things about you. But I want to say thank God to my father for 77 years of life, for 50 years of unrelenting service. And as I prepare to close, it was during this season 13 years ago that I was stopped on 26th Street driving an Acura car that the police put me in the back of a car with no door locks that you could open, windows you could not roll down. First it was a patrol car, then another one, then a sergeant and a lieutenant, a captain, a commander, a paddy wagon. There were 8 vehicles blocking the streets as I was trying to build out a wireless retail store. One white officer in the car, one black officer. The partner that was in the car with me kept saying, "This is Jesse Jackson's son, Jesse Jackson's son. You can't do this to Jesse Jackson's son." I had nothing to say. You have the right to remain silent, and you should. This had nothing to do with me. This is any black child that could have been stopped over there on 26th Street. So the officer said, "Why didn't you tell us you were Jesse Jackson's son? Like, my father," the white officer said, "marched in the civil rights days." And the black officer quickly chimed in and said, "This has nothing to do with race." I said, "Write me up, give me a ticket. Let me know why I was detained for 45 minutes, why I couldn't go get home to see my child's soccer game. Write it up. And the patrolman looked at the sergeant, he looked at the lieutenant, looked at the captain, commander, and with a nod and a wink, no one wanted to write that paperwork up. I had been gone from Chicago for 10 years. I came back and I said, this is still going on? So my father told me to come up and speak one day, 13 years ago. I was 39 years of age here at Rainbow Push. I started off in speech therapy. I had to go to the I had to go over all the consonants and nouns and vowels, and if I get too excited right now, I'll start stuttering right here. So I've got a piece of glass in my heart and my wound to those children that need a speech pathologist. We seem not to have money for the speech pathologist and our English teacher, writing teachers, but we have all the money we need for overtime for police patrol. So it was 13 years ago that my father gave me this opportunity to come on this stage. I wanted to lay in the cut. This was not my problem, really. I was working in investment banking, working with some of the very wealthiest people in this nation, had worked on Wall Street, worked in Beverly Hills. This was not my problem. But I knew it was our problem that I had to speak up on. So my father, in his own way, just pushed me out front and center. And then I went online to figure out what this was about, because it had to be bigger than me. And I was 39 years of old age, and something got in my soul. I said, Reverend Martin Luther King died at 39 years of age. What do I have to say has been the essence of my life if this were the last day on earth? What did I do? That's a question you should think about as well. If you haven't been at a march in Chicago, you haven't been at a demonstration, you haven't stood up for anybody at any time, for any reason, you ought to be ashamed of yourself and change that around. And there are going to be more opportunities. And I'm going to ask two people to join me right quick. It was a young child named Marcus Wiggins. He was 13 years of age, tortured by Commander John Burge. I spoke his name from this program, and then lo and behold, as the Lord would have it, a woman came forward named Miss Johnson. Miss Johnson, come forward. She came from that very same seat on the stage. And the following week, she says to me, she says, I'm Miss Johnson. I'm Miss Johnson. I'm Marcus Wiggins' mother. I said, how are you, Miss Johnson? How is Marcus? I tried to make some small, idle talk. I said, what's Marcus been doing? Where has he been? What's he up to? This had now been better than 10 years since he had Commander John Burge fired. She says, the city paid us $96,000. None of the officers ever got prosecuted. 7 years after the statute of limitation was up, those same officers, being vindictive, came back and framed my child, and he's still in jail. I'm going to ask your help going forward. We're going to get Marcus Wiggins out, a 13-year-old child that was tortured by John Burge. And I'm going to ask that you hold Miss Johnson up in prayer. She's had 3 heart attacks, cancer, and everything. She doesn't look like what she's been through. And when I went down to visit Marcus with her, this woman is strong, and she holds on every day. We're going to pray to bring Marcus back home, and you can help us do that. I kept speaking about Commander John Burge, and then another man pops up. I'm just talking, speaking God's word and truth from this podium, not knowing if it's falling on the soil, the sand, the rocks, in between the cracks. And somehow or another, miraculously, after 24 years of being incarcerated, 9 years in the Supermax in prison, without being able to touch another human being for 9 years, Brother Darrell Cannon, who was tortured by John Burge, was released and found innocent of all charges by the framing of John Burge. To God be the glory, and I say thank you, Rainbow Push. I say thank you to those in our church and our faith community. In closing, I saw a miracle happen just yesterday. I saw a miracle happen. Reverend Hunter, as you make your way to the stage, I saw a miracle happen. I don't know what you call a miracle. I saw a young activist not let it go for 400 days until the tapes were released in high-def 1080i, even after the police went into the Burger King and deleted the video, even after we saw an officer that was supposed to be testifying, lying. We've got 3 other officers that are going to be on trial October 30th. You all have made a difference. Let me be clear. I saw a miracle. I saw the humanity in all persons be affirmed. The prosecutor got everything that they wanted in a city that's 40% African American, a county that's 24% African American. They got 9 white jurors, 1 African American, 1 Hispanic, 1 Latino. But I saw a miracle where humanity spoke up and people saw the truth. The prosecution got everything they wanted and they lost. God is the victory. I would tell you this, the prosecution strategy, and I'm not a lawyer, but I do believe in God as our defense attorney. What I saw them do that was shameful and spiteful, what they need to understand, Laquan, a tax-paying citizen, Laquan had a tax return. Laquan was a responsible child. He was born with a substance abuse in his system, but God was taking it out. He had no drugs in his body. When they tried to silence that child, from the grave, the bones have spoken. The prosecution tried. The FOP tried. They tried to have a dead child on the defense. God has something to say about a child. God was his defender. And now it is my privilege, my pleasure, to introduce to you a man, a man's man, a man amongst men, a man who stepped forward from his family to be its spokesperson, who was unafraid of the city of Chicago. When the police killed his nephew and they said there was 1 shot, he started to investigate and got the truth. There were 16 bullets inside of his nephew. When he went down to City Hall, they said, negotiate with us, take something and be silent. He says, I've got to take care of the family. They will be taken care of. 1.8 million went to the attorneys. Something's wrong with that. 3.2 million went to the family. But he says, that's not the issue here. The issue here is justice for my nephew. One of the reasons you don't hear about other victims coming forward is they have them sign, the families at the time of their being inconsolable, sign that you cannot prosecute the officers. Our city makes them sign that you will never speak about your child again. They make them sign. But I'm about to introduce a minister who said we will not sign that sheet of paper. He's part of the McDonald family. He is the Right Reverend Hunter, a man we can trust that fought for Laquan, who wouldn't let his mouth be silenced, would not let his nephew stay in the grave. We want the other family members to come forward. We want justice for all. The Right Reverend Hunter.
Hallelujah. Glory. Hallelujah in here. Glory. Hallelujah. I feel like it. I feel like it. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. Glory. I got it. God. Didn't he preach? Give my brother a hand. Our leader, Jonathan Jackson. My God. I feel churchy in here today. Man, I want to thank a lot of people, and I'm going to do this real quick because I know I don't have much time, and they don't like me to mention their names because they just move in and out and in and do what they do. And I found out they know a lot of people. But I want you all to know that these brothers were instrumental in making sure that I made the right decisions about the streets, and they kept me safe. And I love these brothers. And Chicago owes a lot to them. They are unsung heroes. Brother Mark Carter and Brother Paul McKinley, wherever you are, thank you. Thank you. And they've been here since day one, trying to do everything they can to make sure that we got justice for Laquan. And so many other activists and so many other concerned people around this city. Thank all of you all. Little brother Calloway and different ones, they just kept pushing and pushing. Thank all of you all. Thank the preachers. And I want to thank Jeanette for bringing all of, she brought AME and CME and Church of God in Christ. I started to just really do something. She's like, Reverend, they just here to pray. I said, well, let them pray. But I want to thank my shero, who, when the police were trying to intimidate me and messing with the family, and I had to get up at 1, 2 in the morning, getting people out of jail and stopping them from doing what they were doing. This lady would get up and get dressed and go with me. And y'all give my wife a hand, Terry Johnson. Thank you. And my shero. That's why I hold her hand, because she held my hand in my heart when it was difficult, when nobody patted me on the back. People were walking away from me. She stood. I want to thank my family for holding their peace. I have a large family. If my family came here today, they couldn't fit in this place. The Bible said, blessed art the man whose quiver is full. My daddy's quiver was full. Thank God. And I want to thank my civil rights hero, our leader, a man that to me has the heart of God. Y'all help me wish him happy birthday and just say thank you to the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson. Thank you, man. Look, some people are saying, you know, that they want to go beyond the verdict of second degree and 16 counts. But I want to tell you all something. Before Jason Van Dyke, we had never gotten anything. Nothing ever happened to a white man for doing anything to a black man in this county. This is a victory. I don't care how you look at it. But for those that are not quite satisfied, just remember it does not stop at the guilty verdict. We got work to do. Number one, we have to become a part of the voting population of this city and of this country. We got to register and we got to vote. We need to educate ourselves. And don't just vote for people because your grandmama voted for them. Understand the issue and how it affects you. And go to the polls and make a difference. That's how we fight. We can change the landscape of Chicago. We can change the landscape of Cook County if we'll go to the polls. Would y'all do that? Stand with the family and go to the polls? Amen. Operation Push has registered people to vote over the years. In North Lawndale, we've registered 1,700. We have 1,700 new registered voters that we put on the roll in this cycle, and I'm very proud of that. And we're going to continue to do that because that is the way. And I want to tell you all, at this point, second guessing the prosecutors, Joseph McMahon did a yeoman's job. He did a yeoman's job. With all odds against him, he got a verdict. and every ounce of evidence that he put into this trial was accepted and brought into this trial. This jury, although it didn't look like the demographics of the city of Chicago, I want to tell you, those people, they voted their soul. That's what they did. They voted their soul. They knew that this man could not go away after torturing, because this was torture. He massacred my nephew. 16 shots. For those that covered it up, I'm praying for your soul. But if you don't repent, in hell you'll lift up your eyes. God bless you, and may heaven forever smile upon you.
Those of you that are watching, give us a call, 773-256-2775. Show some love for Reverend Jackson. Well, today, you all, we're excited that 77 years, he's still pushing. 77 years, God still is using him. 77 years, he's still holding on. 77 years, he still has a lot to say. I want everybody to stand on your feet, turn up your TV and your radio for our leader, our founder, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson.
People keep on yearning, yeah. Soldiers keep on warring. If you wanna world, keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long. Yeah. Listen, powers keep on lying to me in my face. My people, y'all, yeah, don't stop dying. Whoa, keep on turning. Oh, it won't be too long, no. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad that you let me try again. Last time on earth we lived the whole world to sing, y'all. And so many that I know more than I knew then. We're gonna keep on trying till we reach the higher ground. Come on. I know we can. I know we will. If I say still.
I am somebody. I am somebody. I am somebody. Respect me. Protect me. Never neglect me. I am God's child. Red and yellow. Brown, black, and white. We're all precious in God's sight. Everybody is somebody. Stop the violence. Save the children. Stop the violence. Save the children. If my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, I know I can achieve it. I am God's child. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Let me hear you scream.
Higher ground. Higher ground. Higher ground. Higher ground. Higher ground. Oh, so glad that you let me try again. Last time on earth we lived the whole world stand. So glad that I know more than I knew then. We're gonna keep on trying till we reach a higher ground.
Jebediah. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's a joy to be home in a special way on today. I've been in Atlanta the last 3 days campaigning and registering voters for Stacey Abrams to become governor of Georgia. And the Opportunities Conference for the Rainbow Push Coalition, which is held in Atlanta Thursday and Friday. And last night there was a gala celebrations. We got up today to catch a 6 o'clock plane that didn't leave till 8. So I've been on fire since 4 o'clock this morning, I guess 3 o'clock Chicago time. But it was a great joy to be home today, to be amongst friends and family. Somehow, Laquan has unified our family in unusual ways, and an interesting combination of people here today. And I remember, Jebediah, when Harold Washington was concerned about running, and we said, we need to do something unified, and nothing could happen. And someone called me on WBMX at 7 o'clock on Sunday morning and said, why don't y'all boycott Chicago Fest? Because it's just Jane Burns' coronation. And we met on Wednesday here upstairs, and people who had never met for a long time came together on that proposition. And after 10 days of successful boycotting, we came together, and the result of that was Harold Washington. Harold came out of that struggle. And something big is about to happen in Chicago. Something big about to happen in Illinois. I can only say to you today, and I want Accurate come in here for a minute. Accurate, my down-home Southern partner. A number of people have tributes today, and I want you to do your tribute stuff today. But when it's real dark, when it's real dark, you see the stars more clearly when it's real dark. And I tell you today, as a statement of my testimony, that deep water does not drown you. You drown when you stop kicking. And we shouldn't stop kicking. Amazingly, there's so much darkness coming out of Washington. We saw the president dismiss Dr. Ford, saw him dismiss that woman, and then make a mockery of her and crush women's feelings all across the nation, all across the world. It's a darkness coming out of the White House. But then God has energy come from the lighthouse. There's a lighthouse shines brighter than the White House. And so even in this very dark, dark hour, O'Rourke was running for neck and neck with Cruz in Texas. His father was my campaign manager in 1984. And he declares it. As dark as it is, the same place that Emmett Till was killed in, we see S running for Senate in Mississippi. We believe it, we can win Mississippi for Senate. Young brother, 27 years old, running for Congress in southern Mississippi. Brother named Gillum running for governor, running the lead in Florida. And Stacey in Florida, in Georgia. And Ben Espy, been jealous in Maryland. And so while it is so dark, don't let anything break your spirit. Let nothing break your hope. And I want to say to Mr. Bell, we'll get to you in a minute, but her writer may have been the best writer on the beat. He has revealed some stuff that be coming out in the crusade no one else has. When the city held the tapes back and they had to get $5 million for the cover-up, he found out who the black aldermen were who did the cover-up. It's in the Crusader, not in the Sun-Times, not in Tribune. The alderman who took the money for the cover-up is in the Crusader. Give Miss Sister Bell a big hand. And I was so proud of Jeanette. Give Jeanette a big hand. Jeanette, I saw her, and I was proud of Reverend Hunter. Before I sit down, I just want Brother Ackred to do something personal for me. Then y'all get on with your tribute. So I'm going to take my seat. Ackred gave me just a little seat. But these boys, they don't come to church much, you know. I want them to understand what keeps it. Come on, Ackred.
Put those hands together.
Let Mississippi stay.
Like a ship that's tossed and driven, battered by an angry sea. When the storm of life are raging and the fury fall on me, then I look and I wonder why good fortune pass me by. And I say to my soul, don't worry, the Lord will make a way somehow. Come on, help me sing it. Yes, he will. I try to do my best in service. I know you have. I try to live the best I can. Seem to do the right thing. Evil presses on every hand. But at night, I wonder, tossed in so much pain. I wonder what the next day will bring. And I say to my soul, don't worry, don't worry. Yeah, the Lord will. Ah, you make a way somehow. Yes, he will, y'all. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. I know he will. Come on, say it. The Lord will make a way somehow. The Lord will make a way. Oh, somehow. Yes, he will. He will take away your sorrow. Let him have your burden now. The Lord will. Yeah, you make a way somehow. I know he will. He'll make a way. Saying there's a relief in knowing the Lord will make a way somehow. Ain't no doubt in my mind the Lord will make a way somehow. Come on, sing it with it. I tried and I know the Lord will make a way somehow. I say to my soul, don't worry. I know the Lord, he'll make a way somehow. God will. Yes, he will. God will. Yes, he will. My God will. Yes, I tried him. Anybody here ever tried him? Wave your hand if you tried him. Won't the Lord do it? Oh, if you trust him. If you trust him. If you trust him and don't doubt him. I know he will. The Lord will. I know he will. Can I get one witness? Let me see your witness. Can I get your witness? You do it for you and you and you. Ain't no doubt in my mind. I tried him. I tried him. He did it for me. He did it for you. Yes, he will. He did it for you. Yes, he did. He did it for you. Yes, he did. One Friday. One Friday.
Let's go back to the regular programming. Let's go back to the regular. Ramona, like you're connected. You know somebody. Jamal. Y'all stop. Stop. Y'all stop. We have some trained people here today. Stop, y'all. Shh. We have some educated people here today. Don't show me people think I'm an uneducated preacher. Y'all act like y'all are misbehaving. I didn't mean to refuse to act up. But I want you guys send them these young activists. Give them a hand. So proud of you guys. You know, as I turn the program back over to Jeanette, Sister LaVelle, and others of them, whenever the young activists, the not so young activists, and the core ministers and labor all find common ground, nothing can stop us. As long as we're on different sides of town shooting at each other, we really can't make it. This is an unusual moment. We must build upon this day. We have an election to win on November the 6th. We have another win in February. We have too much work to do to go at ourselves. See, nobody can do it alone. We must turn to each other, not on each other, to make good things come our way. Whenever we do it together, we make heaven happy. When heaven is happy, the grass gets green. When heaven is happy, the flowers bloom. When heaven is happy, the chickens cackle. When heaven is happy, good things come our way. Now, Jeanette, prepare to take back over now, because if I take over, it'll be messed up in here. I want Sister LaVelle, come up here for me. She hears the Crusader and the Chicago something, and there are a number of people on schedule that want them for tributes. I want them to do what they're supposed to do, but my spirit, I needed to hear that, what I just not heard. LaVelle, come up in here. Many years ago, I married her and her husband. She was a young woman.
I'm still young.
Yeah, she was a young woman, and her husband couldn't take her across state lines. Because she was so young, and he was in his situation. And so I've been knowing this child since she was a child. She no longer. But I'm calling it today because her writer did unusual digging by himself. And you're going to find stuff come out of the Crusader in the coming weeks.
You gotta get
the one is deep, and I want to give me a copy of that.
Let me get the one from over here. Let me borrow that one. Let me borrow that one.
You got it.
I gave it away, and now I got to get it back.
Let's see what you got to say.
Okay. Oh, this is a hard act to follow, but today is truly a blessing to all of us. We are rejuvenated. We're going to the polls. We're going to elect the right kind of people. But before we do, we're here to celebrate a birthday. And I'm pleased to be here. He tells that story about me not being able to go across state lines, but believe it or not, Reverend Jackson and I are contemporaries. We came to Chicago about the same time, 57 years ago. And I have been here and as publisher for 50 years. So it is just, before I do, he has mentioned a couple of times my reporter. His name is Eric Johnson. That boy hounded me to hire him, hounded me. I said, boy, I can't afford to pay you. So at any rate, he finally convinced us that he should come to Chicago. Well, I thought it was something a little strange about him because he was from Miami coming to Chicago. There was something wrong with the boy. But now we know that he's a newspaper's newspaper man. That's what he is. He's brave, he's introspective. We can't say enough for Brother Calloway and all of them who brought things to light and provided us with an opportunity to do what we need to do. Now, the Crusaders been sitting back in the cut all of these years, but we ain't never been scared. We just didn't have the resources to do what we needed to do. But we're here for you, and I represent all of the black newspapers in the country through the National Newspaper Publishers Association. Brought me out of the rocking chair and back on the front. But today I wanted to say that NNPA, that's the National Newspaper Publishers Association, assigned me to come and just salute our own Reverend Jesse L. Jackson, Sr. So on behalf of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, the Black Press of America, I am wishing you a happy 77th birthday. That not only are you a freedom fighter for our times, but you are also a living example of grace, dignity, diplomacy, intelligence, and what our people could do. He has taught us what our people can do with made-up minds. You have taught us that strong minds break strong chains. And for more than 5 decades, you have led the charge for equity, inclusion, and an end to racism and discrimination in all forms. Thank you for your leadership, Reverend Jackson, and allowing the NNPA to not only report, but to share in your historic journey. Dorothy R. Lavelle, Chairman. Oh, fantastic. Okay, you want me to keep that?
Come on, one more time, put your hands together for the Crusader. Oh, they're doing a great job. So many people that come by to say hello to Reverend Jackson. We want to acknowledge Lori Lightfoot, who's doing an awesome job in the city. We're grateful for her, grateful for Jamal Green, both running for mayor. Come on, make some noise for our candidates. Grateful for Bill Lowry, who is here, the president of McCormick, my president, none other than President David Crawford. Reverend Jackson has always made room for young people, and today we have with us a young man who's in 7th grade. He's a 7th grader from Brookwood Middle School, Gabriel Gatherwright. Come on, put your hands together as he comes as our oratorical competition.
My name is Gabriel Gatherwright, and I will recite The Creation by James Weldon Johnson. As far as the eye of God could see, darkness covered everything, blacker than 100 midnights down in a cypress swamp. Then God smiled, and the light broke. Darkness rode up on one side, while the light stood shining on the other. And God said, "That's good." And then God reached out to the light, and he took it in his hands, and he rolled it around in his hands until he made the sun. And he sent that sun ablazing into the heavens. And the light that was left from making the sun, God rolled it in his hands, and he flung it against the darkness, spangling the night with the moon and the stars. Then down between the darkness and the light, he hurled the world, and God said, "That's good." Then God stepped down with the sun on his right hand and the moon on his left hand and the stars above his head and the earth under his feet. And where he trod, the mountains bulged up and the valleys hollowed out. And when he walked and he looked and he saw that the earth was hot and barren, he stepped to the edge of the world and he spat out the 7 seas. And when he batted his eyes, the lightnings flashed. And when he clapped his hands, the thunders rolled. And the waters above the earth came down. The cooling waters came down. And then the green grass sprouted, and the little red flowers blossomed. And the pine tree pointed his finger up to the sky, and the oak tree spread out his arms. And the lakes cuddled in the hollows of the ground, and the rivers ran out to the sea. And God smiled again, and the rainbow appeared, and it curled itself around his shoulder. As I close, thank you, Reverend Jackson, for your push for humanity, for your advocacy for social justice, for your things you've done for all of us in the whole world. And let us all give Reverend Jackson a big happy birthday present for registering to vote and for voting for this year's election for the state of Illinois. Thank you, Reverend Jackson, and happy birthday.
Come on, one more time for this great 7th grader, Gabriel Gatherite. Oh, come on, that's our future. We're grateful for him. Those of you that are still with us on Impact Network, we're grateful for you. Give us a call, 773-256-2775, wherever you are, and show Reverend Jackson some love. Those of you that are with us, pull out your cell phones and text JLJ77 to 41444. Once again, text JLJ77 to 41444 and show your support for the work that we're doing here at Push, because we need your support to do the great work that we're doing. And so those of you that can donate today, $7, $77, $777, or even $7,700 as we continue to do the work. And this great man, Reverend Jackson, on your birthday, he shares the same birthday as you. He's the first black principal of Oak Park River Forest's 150-year history. They're doing a documentary right now on Netflix, The America We Know. I want you all to put your hands together for this great leader, Nathaniel Ross, principal of Oak Park River Forest. Come on, Oak Park, make some noise.
Wow. Good morning and thank you. As a kid from the 70s, I knew I always wanted to be somebody. And I'm just thankful and blessed to share the opportunity to actually share the stage with a legend and someone that I've looked up to for so many years. So I want to thank you for everything that you've done. You know, a lot of times as young black leaders, first of all, we're chosen for this. I didn't ask for it. I applied for it, but I know I was chosen. And I was chosen from a higher power. And I learned that from my family. And we don't have opportunities to actually thank those that come before us because frankly, most of the time they're gone. So I want to make sure that I honor you and thank you for everything that you've done for me and our country and us as black people. That being said, I would please like to ask my family from Oak Park and River Forest High School to please stand up and be recognized. Thank you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. The students from Student Advocating for Equity, as well as our Black Leaders Union, for spending your Saturday morning with me. You could have been many, many places. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming and sharing this time with me as I give back to someone as special as Reverend Jackson. Thank you all. Thank you. Also, as you've heard, we do have this documentary on our school that's been airing on Stars. We're in episode 6, and I encourage you to watch it. But I would love for you to watch it for many reasons, but this is the one that's most important to me. Our educational system is broken. It is not meant for our students of color to be successful. Brown versus Board of Education allowed us to go to school, okay? But what we didn't change is the system. We need to change this system in order for our students to be successful. What I regret about the documentary is, unfortunately, that they spend much time talking about the issues that we have that are very consistent with many schools in our country. But what they don't talk about are the unique ways that we attempt to address those issues with our racial equity efforts and a racial equity policy that we feel that every school district needs so that we can change the status quo and do things so that we make sure that our black and brown students see themselves in culture and see themselves in curriculum as we teach our students to this day. Last and certainly but not least, as it's already been said, my birthday is Monday as well, and there's no one better to spend that birthday with besides Reverend Jesse Jackson. So thank you all again. Thank you, and keep hope alive.
Oh, come on, one more time, make some noise for Oak Park River Forest. She is the Associate Superintendent for Harvey School and newly appointed Deputy Superintendent for Dalton and Riverdale School District 148. She's no stranger to push, but I want you to make her to feel real comfortable. Dr. Sonia Whitaker, come on, put your hands together as she comes.
Good morning, good morning. My dearest Reverend Jesse Jackson, on behalf of all school boards, teachers, and educational leaders and children from across the entire world, it is my pleasure to wish you a very happy 77th birthday. Reverend Jackson, you have indeed been on the battleground for over 50 years, taking on the very bold step of advocating for the rights of all people, and more specifically, for the most vulnerable. In public schools today, there is now a great focus on the topic of teaching for social justice, and I believe that one of the most effective ways that teachers and administrators can learn the history that they need in order to do so effectively is by becoming actively a part of the Rainbow Push Coalition and by considering this organization as a resource in their efforts. Reverend Jackson, with regards to students, you have sought to encourage students to develop the resiliency needed to plow through some of their most difficult situations in life with your words of inspiration such as, keep hope alive, and the ground is no place for a champion, and if my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, I know I can achieve it. And as young students make their transition from childhood to becoming adults, you have made it very clear your desire to see them graduate from high school with a diploma in one hand and a voter registration card in the other hand. You have sought to encourage educators and students alike to support the work of this great organization with your words, which, Reverend, are my all-time favorite. Help push before you need help from push. Reverend Jesse Jackson, you recognize that parents are the children's first teacher, and therefore you have consistently reminded the parents of the importance of taking their children to school, meeting their children's teachers, and showing up for report card pickup days. And in a way that only you can do it, you have reminded all of us as parents that our children need our presence more than our presence. And in closing, Reverend, I want to take this opportunity to publicly share with you that just over 10 years ago, I sat right down in the front row. I was brought to Rainbow Push by a very well-respected educator in the Chicago public school system, and I watched you speak publicly for the first time. And during that broadcast, Reverend, you spoke about a family who was experiencing hardship in Mr. Ickey's housing project. After you finished speaking, you slowly moved from this stage, and I watched a whole bunch of men walking you out. And I leaned over to the person next to me and I said, "Where is Reverend going?" And she said, "Dr. Whitaker, Reverend is on his way to spend the evening with the family he just spoke about in the Ickey's housing project." And it was at that moment I knew you were the real deal. Reverend, you really walk the walk. You really walk it like you talk it. I decided at that moment I wanted to be a part of whatever you and this great organization was doing on behalf of all people. And in closing, on a broader level, I know and believe that you are a great man of courage. You have always demonstrated that. Being that I am the daughter of retired Master Sergeant Robinson of the United States Air Force, I have a great appreciation for the personal risk that you and your family take every single day, and for the personal risk that you took to bring home hostages from Syria, Iraq, and Kuwait, and many others. Thank you, Reverend Jackson. Today is your birthday. You have done well. It's time to celebrate. Thank you so much.
Come on, one more time, put your hands together. For those of you that do not know, every Sunday morning from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, Reverend Jackson has an impactful show called Keep Hope Alive Radio. It is a show that you can listen to on KeepHopeAliveRadio.com, or if you have the iHeart app, you can download it and listen to it live. It is one of the most impactful and insightful radio shows in the world. And this young man does a lot of work behind the scenes every single Sunday. And he came by to wish Reverend Jackson a happy birthday. Put your hands together for him. Keep Hope Alive Radio, Trevor Gervais. Come on, put your hands together for him.
Good morning. My name's Trevor Tejeda Gervais. I'm excited to be here. I have the privilege of spending every Sunday morning with Reverend Jackson, with Santita Jackson, and with Miss Betty Bagnes on the Keep Hope Alive radio show. And I'm here not just to wish Reverend Jackson a happy birthday because he wouldn't allow me to take the mic and only do that. I'm here to say that 1 month from today is Election Day. 1 month from today is Election Day. And if you're like me, you've spent the last 2 years feeling powerless. Powerless when you turn on the news and you see children in cages. Powerless when you turn on that news and you see right now a Supreme Court justice about to be nominated who doesn't know anything about justice. Not one thing about justice. But I have a little hope because that's what Reverend Jackson teaches us to do. And 1 month from today, we get to vote. 1 month from today is our election day. But there's one problem before we get to that day, and that is because right now, all across the country, millions of people are being purged from the voter rolls. Millions of people are having their voter registrations canceled like that because they know that we're coming. And so what every single person has to do, everyone who's in this room right now, every single person who's listening to this broadcast at home or watching at home, needs to know that you have to go to vote.org and make sure your voter registration is up to date. Vote.org and make sure that you're up to date. And don't tell me, but Trevor, I've been registered for 30, 40, 50 years. I've never had a problem voting. This is the year you're going to have a problem voting. This is the year that they're going to take your vote away from you. And don't wait until it's too late. Today is the day when you can register to vote all across the country. Don't show up on Election Day and not be registered. Because I think that if all of us can come together and we can say, you know what, I think that the United States should welcome refugees and not put them in cages, then you need to go to vote.org right now. If you think we need some actual systematic changes in police accountability in the city of Chicago and all across the country, you need to go to vote.org right now and make sure you can show up on November 6th on Election Day. In closing here, the one other thing about that is that Laquan McDonald's family finally had some justice. And a big part of that was the organizing, the activism, and the final part of that was that 12 registered voters opened their jury summons and said, I'm gonna be there. And too many of us, myself included, will open that jury summons and say, you know what, how do I get out of this? How do I make sure that I don't get called? We need to flip that script. We need to make sure we're registered to vote. We need to open that summons and say, I will show up because I should be the person who's sitting on that jury. We need to make sure that no longer do you have a jury that doesn't look anything like the person who's accused. A jury and that is what happens every single time all across Cook County and all across this country. So in closing, I just want to thank Reverend Jackson so much. You know, I don't know if you know this, but I did not vote for you in '84 or '88, not because I didn't respect you, but because I wasn't born yet. But I have spent the last 2 years and had the opportunity to learn so much from you, and I cannot wait to take everything and to continue to take everything that I have learned from you and make sure that I go out there and register as many people as I can and make sure everyone votes 1 month from today. So go to vote.org, make sure you're up to date. 1 month from today is Election Day. Thank you, Reverend Jackson.
Come on, put your hands together one more time for that great young man who wasn't even born yet to vote. Listen, you all, if you've been driving around Chicago and you've come across any of the hotels, you've seen so many people on strike. These are workers that make our hotels comfortable, allow people to come back with good experiences, but there is so much that they need that they do not have. And this man who represents from his heart so many people, and he's the co-director of Citizen Action Illinois. I want you to put your hands together as he comes to show Reverend some love. William E. McNary, the co-director of Citizen Action Illinois.
Well, good morning. I'm so excited about the work that everybody is doing to register people to vote, to
educate people to vote and finally getting out to vote. 31 more days. We are proud to announce that Citizen Action is partnering with Rainbow Push Coalition in a nonpartisan black voter project, turnout increasing for the November 2018 elections. Our focus is going to be on the black sporadic voters in Cook County, particularly black Chicago, and the blacks in the western and the southern suburbs. Sporadic voters are those people who voted in the presidential election in 2012, but only voted in one of the last two gubernatorial off-year elections. Let's go back a second. In the 2016 presidential election, the white vote was up, the Latino vote was up, the Asian vote was up, the black vote was down. In the 2012 presidential election, 500,000 less black people voted than voted in 2012. Fast forward, in March 2018, the black voter turnout in Illinois primary elections was 354,000 less than voted in the 2016 election. So we're going to target 120,000 sporadic voters, do a door-to-door campaign to be followed up by radio and live dialing, text messages, and social media. 31 days left. If you'd like to be a part of this effort, call Betty Magnus at the Rainbow Push. But I came here to celebrate and say thank you to Reverend Jackson for what you have already done. You have registered and turned out more black and brown and white and yellow and red voters than any other man in the history of the United States. Because you ran for president, you have expanded the Democratic Party and you changed the rules so that Barack Obama could be the first black president of the United States. So I came here to say thank you for what you've already done, but I also want to say thank you for what you're doing right now. When the United Here workers in Chicago went on strike in the hotels, you had one of the members come right here and petition us for justice. And then 2 weeks later, you led us as we marched the picket line with the workers and encouraged them to victory. The workers were on strike at 26 hotels. They now have contracts with 22 hotels, 4 more to go. And lastly, so thank you for what you're already doing, but I lastly came here to thank you most of all for what you are getting ready to do. You see, marching with us 2 weeks ago was a justice warrior named Katie Jordan. She's 90 years old. Marching with us for justice at the hotel workers was another woman named B. Lumpkin. She's 100 years old. And so, Reverend Jackson, you're still a young man, baby. You are doing what you're getting ready to do. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, minds have not conceived what God has in store for you. So happy birthday, Reverend Jackson. You are one of the greatest inspirational leaders of our time. We look forward to running and walking and flying with you for victories to come.
Oh, come on, y'all. Reverend still got a good step in him. And we thank God for him. Those of you that are watching us again, give us a call, 773-256-2775. That's the number on your screen. We want you to be connected with us and show your love today for Reverend as we continue to do the work. As we get ready to wrap up today, these three men have worked tirelessly without thank yous, without high fives, and oftentimes with what little they have. One is running for the 7th Ward as Alderman Jedediah Brown. The other one is 19 years old, the youngest to ever run for the mayor of city of Chicago. And last but not least, before there were cameras, before there were writers, this man came into the doors of this building and kept telling Reverend, Reverend, we have to fight. Reverend, we have to get around this. And he resurrected a young boy that had gotten forgot about. And we thank God for this man who is doing a great work, William Calloway. I want everybody to stand on your feet. Embrace these leaders as they come.
Y'all could be seated. It feels real strange hearing that, because for the past month I've been hearing the judge say that, right? First and foremost, I'd like to give honor to God, to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Can we put a round of applause for the head of this house, Reverend Jackson? We love you. We love you. I love you. We love you. Thank you for giving us a platform to always come, a safe space to come and organize and build. You've taught me so much over these past few years. I know sometimes I could be a little bit active. But I thank the God in you for always giving me wisdom and sound advice, even when I didn't want to humble myself. But I thank you for being patient with me, and I thank you for being there for me and for Jamal, for Jedediah, and for all our generation. Can we give a round of applause for Reverend Jackson? So I wanted to take a break today, but I definitely wanted to come and spread some love, so I'm not going to be long. What happened yesterday was a historic moment for the city of Chicago. I'm not sure if you can articulate something, some words can describe, but the feeling that I had was sort of undescribable when the verdict was read that he was guilty of murder. He was guilty of first account, second account, third account, fourth account, fifth account, sixth account, seventh account, eighth account, ninth account, 10th account, 11th account, 12th account, 13th account, 14th account, 15th account, 16th account. God is good, God is real, God is real, and God is good, and God is a God of justice. God is a God of justice. God is a God of justice. And this whole world would know it was only because of God and through his son, Jesus Christ, that we was delivered justice yesterday for Laquan McDonald. And as long as I'm alive, and let the history books reflect, and let me give an account for the world and for the angels in heaven that it was because of Jesus Christ that sits on the throne that we was given justice for Laquan McDonald yesterday. Justice for Laquan. God bless you all. Please make sure you get registered to vote. I understand people have some ways and feelings about the jury and the makeup pool, but what Reverend Jackson has been doing and continue to encourage us to do, Jamal, Lynn, Jedediah, and myself, and so many of us, is you have to register to vote. You have to. You have to register to vote. In order to sit on that jury pool, one of the requirements is you have to be a registered voter. You understand? You have to be registered to vote. In Jesus' name, I think Reverend Marvin Hunter left, but I just want to give my condolences to his family, to Tina Hunter, to the whole Lawndale community, to the black community, not just here, but all across America. When they wouldn't give us justice for Trayvon Martin, they didn't give us justice for Mike Brown, they didn't give us justice for Sandra Bland, but Chicago, we got justice for Laquan McDonald.
Come on, y'all. This is the next generation right now. Come on, y'all. Give it up for Will Calloway, Jedediah Brown, Jamal Green. Come on, make some noise. Yeah. Walk humbly, seek justice, and love mercy. Those three things are what God requires of us. And we thank God that God has given us not a spirit of fear, but love, power, and a sound mind. And so we thank God again for their sacrifice. And so for everybody's sacrifice, it all worked out for the good. All things work together for the good. And today, as we get ready to go, these great men, these omega men, have come to show their brothers some love. I want you to put your hands together for the great Omega man of Omega. Sapphire, come on, make some noise for them as they come.
Good morning, Push. The men of Omega Psi-Phi are here today to pay homage to our vision-oriented, mission-postured man of God. Rude. I am Brother Reverend Richard C. Keller, the chaplain for the 10th District of Omega Psi-Phi Fraternity Incorporated, where our grand bosses is Dr. David Marion and our district representative is Brother Darrell Jones. We come today not as this is the first recognition, because Brother Reverend Jackson was honored during Omega Psi-Phi's 100th centennial in Washington, D.C. in the year 2011 as one of the most prolific and proleptic clergy leaders in the United States of America. Give him a hand. We come today just to express our gratitude and our love for our brother, and I have a proclamation that I'd like to read to you from the fraternity. Omega Psi-Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Birthday tribute, Brother Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr. Heartfelt birthday salutations go forth to our dear Brother Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr., who entered the great Omega Psi-Phi fraternity in 1960 through the Pi Psi chapter at the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana. Whereas Brother Jackson is a personification of the cardinal principles of the Omega Psi-Phi Fraternity Incorporated, which are manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift, as we salute him on his 77th anniversary of his birth. And whereas he demonstrated scholarship in achieving his Bachelor of Science from North Carolina A&T and his Master of Divinity from Chicago Theological Seminary in Chicago, Illinois. Whereas his display of manhood is epitomized as a servant leader of the gospel ministry in his zeal and success as a politician, as a civil rights leader, and he is an articulate globe-trotter for justice, perpetuating peace and equality with numerous awards and citations, both national and international. Whereas his perseverance is evident through decades of faithful, fruitful service, no matter what the challenge. Brother Reverend Jesse Jackson continues to uplift the lives of countless members of our community as he lifts up humankind so that we may stand on the precipice of power, pride, purpose, and promise. Therefore, we thank God. Therefore, we give God some praise. People of God, just clap your hands. Therefore, we thank God for ordering his steps our way and say happy 77th birthday and God's blessings upon you and your continued success. October 6, 2018, brothers of the 10th District, the Omega Psi-Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Brother Darrell L. Jones, 10th District Representative, and friendship is essential to the soul. God bless you, Reverend. We are presenting him with an Omega clock, for we know that the scripture says there's a season and a time for everything. And Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. changed time when he stepped onto the platform of the United States of America. And we just want to let him know that his clock is still ticking and time is still marching on, because it's time to move, time to push, time to vote, and time to mobilize. God bless you, and may heaven smile upon you.
I wish that you would, because I know the morning is long, and we have so much to do in Chicago today. You don't have to worry to see the Cubs. That's out. And Bears have an off week, so I know we're not going to see that today. But I want something special from you. Sister Lightfoot is here, and Jamal is here and so forth. When we brought Goodman, Sister Lightfoot, back from Syria, President Reagan said, "What can I do for you?" And his whole cabinet was gathered. I wanted to make a request that was not give me a grant, give me a donation. I wanted to make and so I want those who are running for mayor at the appropriate time wants to sit in the room together and figure it out. Can't but one be the mayor. And if you would empower me, stop a minute, to convene the family. I've seen us lose some big elections. We had the mayor of Memphis, the congressman from Memphis, and everybody got so carried with themselves, we lost all that. We had 6 black folks running for mayor of Atlanta. We almost lost Atlanta because nobody was empowered to convene the family and figure it out. All of you are intelligent, all you are literate, and there are enough things to do in the city to say all of us can do something to serve. Can't but one of us be mayor at a time. Now, that's my gift. I want y'all to come to such at the appropriate time. I don't want nobody to feel awkward in the meeting. Harold said, since we always use dropping Harold's name, Harold said, I need a poll to give me some evidence that somebody wants to concern about you other than you. He said, you need to raise some serious money, have the ability to build a coalition, and one candidate. It took some going on to get through that because a lot of folks were eligible to run, but that wasn't the point. Couldn't be one to run and win. So that's what I want for my birthday gift. Now, my second one, I want us to get ready to have prayer. Reverend Hart, I thank you so much. Reverend Hart has been so meaningful in my, we met and we were in school together. We were driving down the highway one Sunday morning together on the way to church in Inglewood. And we had the radio on with Reverend Daniels. And Reverend Evans came on singing, I Must Tell Jesus. I said, Reverend Hart, let's find that church. He said, that's Clay Evans. We left right Hardy, July 5th, 1965. The Omegas, I want y'all to get back in them chairs. I'm going to ask y'all for some money, so I want y'all to ease out of that. I don't want y'all to act like y'all Kappas, like Alphas or something like. Don't y'all act like y'all Omega men, gang signs. Alphas have gang signs. Let us pray. As we pause to ask God to have mercy upon us, some celebrate the fact that a man is going to jail for killing somebody. I saw him crying in court last week. I didn't think they were false tears. You realize he had made a big mistake. He had killed somebody. He's going to jail. He'll leave his family. Laquan's in the grave. He'd leave his family. 2 men are dead. One of them is in the ground, one above it. Both of them are dead. We must stop the killing and choose a more civilized way to resolve conflict. Lord, have mercy upon us. Give us the something within to turn to each other with renewed vigor and vitality. Find the joy and the love in each other. Only the pure in heart shall see God. If your heart is not pure, you cannot see the God in other people. We want pure hearts and the will to fight back
to do justice and to love mercy, to have safe streets and safe parks and good schools. Lord, bless us and keep us. Amen. I want us to do this. Jeanette, I want to give her some credit for organizing all of this. I give her some credit for it. Now, they kicked up this 7 scheme, 77 cents, $7.07, $77, 777,000, whatever your 77 is. But don't make it 77 cents, y'all. And I want you to do it today. Do it for what? Because we're working in Florida. If we were in Florida, y'all, that's a big deal. We were in Georgia and Mississippi, y'all, that's a big deal. You're investing in when I travel back and forth, we go on our own. We pay our own way, but you pay the hotel bill. And I'm not going to play, we're going to work. So I want you to give as generous as you are able to give. Those who give, I'm so used to saying $100 or more. Those who give $77 or more, you stand. I'm trying to figure out how to say it. You give $77 or more, stand. You give $77 or more, stand. Michael Eady, $100. Bill Lowry, $300. Thank you, Bill. Turn the bill. Ellen Dickey, $77. Hermes, $7,700. Oh. Kevin Jordan, $300. It is wonderful. Attorney Cunningham, $100. Betty Magnus, 77 cents. Oh, dollars. Jeanette Wilson, 77 cents. Chenta, 77. Bob Fioretti, $770. John Rogers, $3,500. Thank you, John. Women's Auxiliary, $185. Dwayne Cowell, $100. Cash after Tuesday. Oratory Society, $80. Ewa, $100. Max Moore, Sigma Man. Dr. Sonia Whitaker, $100. Don Lander, $100. Henrietta Leaks, $100 more than she always gives. Friends, we do it in a jovial way, but we really need your support. And please be back here next week. You know, we'll be in Los Angeles next week. Next week we'll be in Los Angeles for the birthday fundraising celebration. We will be here big time on Saturday morning, however. Ira, don't get far away from me. If you want to swipe, we got a swipe down there. We got a swipe machine. Linda Morris, $77. ACIU, $250. Benetta Bush, $1,000. Thank you, Benetta. I mean 100. I'm sorry. I got you give $77 or more, stand. Oh, Sister Helen. You got a card from the prisoner people. Betty, I have a special one for you today, Betty, when I see you when the meeting's over. Is that Dr. Ebony? Good to see you, Dr. Ebony. Dr. Lightfoot, I'm anxious to talk to you. I've been missing you because I've been on the road so much. And I'm trying to take my medicine, y'all, and fight the Parkinson's. But y'all, Parkinson's gonna catch hell out of me. I'm gonna fight like a dog. Every time Parkinson's show up, I just call another plane. Lily Sanders, $770. Thank you, Lily.
Reverend Henry Hardy. $100. Thank you, Henry. I'm delighted. So many years. If you've not yet given yet, please stand. If you've not yet given, please stand. We thank you for whatever you give for the 77 cents of the idea. Now, isn't there some kind of something upstairs, Betty? There's something upstairs, right? Dorothy Lavelle, $100 today. Thank you, Lavelle. There's a luncheon upstairs. Bet I have one for you today when I see you. I have one for you. I have one. No, yeah, I have one for you. Y'all gonna sing something for me? You gonna say something? We're singing right now. Hit it right now. Hit it now. You ready? Hit it. That means you do. Nothing we do for your kingdom. Everything we do.
Put your hands together as you get your offering out. Hey. Say, draw all men. Say, towards your kingdom. All we do, you get the glory, God. You said if you would be lifted. Say, lift him up. Say, lift him up. Your kingdom, world at your command, by your love, God, say, towards your kingdom, now we lift our hands, give you the glory, God, you said if you would be lifted, hey, can y'all help us say lift him up, yeah. Say, lift him up. Say, to lift the Savior. Come on, put your hands together. Lift him up. Lift the Savior. Hey, lift him up. Lift the Savior up. Let's go with it. Hey, lift the Savior up. Yeah, say, lift him up. Yeah. Lift the Savior up. Say, lift him up. Hey, lift him up. Say, to lift him up. Lift the Savior up.
I want y'all to get ready to go upstairs. They prepared a birthday dinner for me, but it's really for you. And I want y'all to let's go upstairs together. I won't stop everything for a minute. I want the construction workers to come up here on stage with me, please. The construction workers come up here. These second chance workers got first class jobs. Give them a hand. The state treasurer, give him a hand. Did you bring $77 million? This is the seventh Saturday. What happened to Acre? Acre had to go? Acre, you know, we've been blessed to have a friendship across the years. When you hear West Side, you hear Acre, you hear Hatch. They're partners in the thrust for justice and Paul Jakes. And someone said to me the other day, I was talking with Reverend Meeks one day, and Reverend Meeks said we began to talk one Sunday morning about jobs and justice, and one of his members said, Reverend, now that you're into that, let me explain what's happening on my job. Say every minister, every Sunday should be in the justice. We should always be into that. End war, every Sunday. End violence, every Sunday. Love one another, every Sunday. Now, the reason I want my three young activists, Jamal, you guys come up here for a minute. I want them to come up here. With Jamal and you're in Jedediah and Will. Read them on them up here. Just come on up here for a minute. These young men are going somewhere. Well, I don't care where you're going, you can't outrun raindrops without getting wet. You can't outrun your shadow. So the way the Bible puts it, young men, remove not the ancient landmarks your mothers and fathers have set. Some of my success, if it's a success, I'm rooted into Dr. King and NAACP. Mandela's success is rooted into the African National Congress. You don't have to start it. There's nothing you want to do we've not tried. We may not have done it as well as we should have done it. You may have underestimated the opposition, but your time is upon you now. This is your place. It's your space. It's your platform. And if you have a sharp mind and an humble spirit, there's no telling where you can go, how much you can achieve. Say a sharp mind, an humble spirit. The future belongs to you. Now, Brother Acker, as we get ready to go upstairs, I want you to do my favorite song from you. Just a little bit of that. Jeanette, you better say something, baby.
Church Reverend. Since Reverend Evans couldn't be here today, Ralph is here, and you'll remember this one. Chimes and chimes, ring out the new, another day has come. Someone slipped and fell. Was that someone you may have known? Strength and your courage to renew, but don't you be discouraged, 'cause I'll bring hope to you. It is no secret what God can do, what is done for others, He will do the same for you. With
we got that part. Accurate. Talk about that ship a little bit. Accurate. Do it again.
I know y'all tired of this, but it's his birthday.
Everybody stand on your feet.
I know you're tired of it.
On your feet.
But can you sing it with us? Won't He make a way? Can I get a witness? Like a ship that's tossed and driven, battered by an angry sea. When the storm of life are raging and the fury fall on me, then I look and I wonder why good fortunes pass me by. Then I say to my soul, don't worry, the Lord will make a way somehow. But Put those hands together. Yes, he will. I got one more verse I got to say. Listen. I try to do my best in service. I try to live the best I can. Seem to do the right thing, but evil presses on every hand. Look at here. Many nights I wondered, tossing so much pain. Yeah, I wondered what the next day will bring. This is what I do. Then I say to my soul, don't worry. Look at here. The Lord will make a way somehow. Come on, say it with me. Do you know he will? Hey, hey, the Lord will make a way somehow. Hey, hey, when beneath the cross I bow. This is what he'll do. He will take away your sorrow. And if you let him have your burdens now, oh, when you loop it down so heavy, sweat just seem to fall from your brow. Sing it, there's a relief in knowing the Lord will make a way somehow. Yes, he will.